The COVID-19 pandemic is a wake-up call. It is like the judgment of God. There are two great judgments. The first is the great flood during the time of Noah. And the second is still in the future, the end times. We are living in between those two great judgments now. The COVID-19 is a wake-up call. There is a judgment day that is going to come. Let's listen to the warning of Noah. Genesis chapter 9, verse 1 to 16. Then God blessed Noah and his sons, saying to them, "Be fruitful and increase in number, and fill the earth. The fear and dread of you will fall upon all the beasts of the earth and all the birds of the air, upon every creature that moves along the ground, and upon all the fish of the sea. They are given into your hands. Everything that lives and moves will be food for you. Just as I gave you the green plants, I now give you everything. But you must not eat meat that has its life blood still in it. And for your life blood, I will surely demand an accounting. I will demand an accounting from every animal, and from each man too. I will demand an accounting for the life of his fellow man. Whoever sheds the blood of man, by man shall his blood be shed. For in the image of God has God made man. As for you, be fruitful and increase in number. Multiply on the earth and increase upon it." Then God said to Noah and to his sons with him, "I now establish my covenant with you and with your descendants after you, and with every living creature that was with you, the birds, the livestock, and all the wild animals, all those that came out of the ark with you, every living creature on earth. I establish my covenant with you. Never again will all life be cut off by the waters of a flood. Never again will there be a flood to destroy the earth." And God said, "This is the sign of the covenant I am making between me and you and every living creature with you, a covenant for all generations to come. I have set my rainbow in the clouds, and it will be the sign of the covenant between me and the earth. Whenever I bring clouds over the earth and the rainbow appears in the clouds, I will remember my covenant between me and you and all living creatures of every kind. Never again will the waters become a flood to destroy all life. Whenever the rainbow appears in the clouds, I will see it and remember the everlasting covenant between God and all living creatures of every kind on the earth." It is very interesting to watch on television the response of the world to the great pandemic, the devastation of the different countries, and the response of the people. In Italy, the people sang on the streets and on their balconies. In the US, the people clapped their hands for the healthcare workers. And in the UK, particularly, the children drew rainbow and pasted those drawings in the walls, in the windows rather, of their houses, so that you can see it when you pass by their houses. The rainbow are displayed on the window. The story of Noah sounds like a story of despair, destruction, devastation, but it is actually a fantastic story of hope. This is about the rainbow covenant. And there are three revelations that we see, we learn in this story of Noah. What is significant about the rainbow? There are three things that it teaches us. Rainbow signifies renewal. Rainbow signifies blood. And rainbow signifies grace. First, rainbow is about renewal. Today, the planet is under a terrible and hard pandemic. Our children will certainly remember their generation as a time when they were not able to go to school, when they were not able to go to church. It's very hard times. And the only protection or weapon that they will remember as the weapon that saved people from this pandemic, from this COVID-19, is the mask. Today, there are already about 400,000 who have died globally from the pandemic. Terrible. There has been times in history that deaths like this have happened already. This is not just the time. There has been the plague of the Spanish flu that killed 50 million people. The World War I has killed 20 million people. And the World War II is the worst of all these wars, because 85 million people died during World War II. Where is God in all this? I have no answer. There are those who differentiate about evil that is caused by human and evil that is an act of God. Act of God, like earthquakes, storms, and human acts like wars. these are caused by humans. And therefore, some argue that the problem of evil is not just a question for God, but human sin. But it is a mystery. And this short message is not enough to give justice to, to this mystery. Having said that, all these pandemics in the world that happened, worse than all these combined is the great pandemic that struck Noah's world. That devastation is not, this COVID-19 is nothing in comparison to what Noah saw. What we see horrifies us, frightens us. What Noah saw. He lost all his friends. He lost his home. He lost his land. And he's there floating in that vast water, not knowing where to go. That must be indeed nightmare for Noah. Noah's world was destroyed. As I've said already, that is the first judgment. And there will be a second, final judgment coming. Noah's world was destroyed. God gave Adam and Eve the planet to enjoy. It's to support life. It is to be the home that will give them happiness. And God told Noah, be fruitful and multiply. And despite the fall, Adam and Eve faithfully fulfilled that mandate to develop the planet. And so the world in Adam and Eve's time progressed. And now, all the efforts of Adam and Eve seem to be wasted because the entire planet was destroyed. Why? There is sin. There is evil in the world. And because of this sin and evil in the world, God judged the world. However, even though God judged the world of Noah wiped out, as if human beings will be extinct already, God saved the planet. The world destroyed, and judged is still a world that God saved and redeemed and renewed. God established a covenant with Noah, a covenant to renew the world. The second thing about the rainbow is about renewal. It is also about blood. God made a covenant with Noah. This is, as it were, the second covenant that God made. The first was with Adam, creation, to be subdued, and the population to progress. And then the second covenant God made with Noah. God deals with the history of redemption through the ages in covenants. Adam, Noah, Moses, David, and finally, the new covenant with Jesus Christ. This covenant with Noah laid a very important foundation, and that is the importance of blood. God gave food to Noah after the flood subsided, and they are now in this new renewed world. And God told them, as I give you all the green plants, I now give you all the animals as food. Noah and this world were vegetarians. And God changed the diet. Why should God change this diet, which will include uric acid, cholesterol, fats, sugar, which will make us killing you softly? Best is vegetarian. Let us join those who are giving the challenge of losing weight during this Covenant 19. Let's be vegetarians. Diet. But very importantly, God forbade eating blood. Why? There is something very important that God is teaching, and it is a spiritual lesson. Blood is about death. God is teaching that when a man comes to God and worship Him, death is involved. No one can come to God and live. Blood, death. And therefore, God is teaching that blood is sacred. The animals who must be killed and its blood shed in worshiping God and in offering to God are becoming the pointers to God. The mediators, as it were, between God and sinful human is the animal, the blood of the animal, the death of the animal, in exchange for the death of the sinner in coming to God. That is why we have the term scapegoat. The sinner escaped death and the animal died instead of the sinner. God is teaching that, very important in this covenant with Noah, the redemption of the earth. Later, Jesus will pronounce all food clean, including blood. The Israelites have become so engrossed with animal sacrifice that they thought that acceptability to God depends on what you eat and do not eat. Jesus said, it is not what you eat, but what is in your heart that God desires. And therefore he pronounced all food are clean. And then, lastly, rainbow is about grace. The covenant is in the old times, comparable to contracts today, although it's more powerful than contracts. Because some contracts can be revoked, but a covenant is irrevocable. And in the old times, that is how agreements are done through covenant. God and man making this covenant. And there are provisions for this covenant. God provided in this covenant that earth will prosper no matter what happens, at least until the end time. But in between this period of grace, no matter what happens, earth will survive. Never again, God said, will I destroy the earth. This means that the earth, despite all these tragedies, will continue to develop, will continue to progress, will continue to succeed. And in the march of history, we see the advances of civilizations prospering, the earth moving towards a better world. The Iron Age, the Bronze Age, the Industrial Revolution, the Space Age, women's rights, the slave emancipation, the discovery of vaccines against malaria, tuberculosis, great killers before. And now the cyberspace age. The earth will survive. God provides. And we can depend on that. Grace. That's what it's called. The age of grace. But grace can be abused Paul said, are we to sin that grace may abound? Instead of appreciating grace, humans have a tendency to be like Noah's world again, getting worse and worse and worse until the end times. This age of grace is an age to prepare to meet God. Some say, it's so long. When will God come again? When will Jesus come again? Evil is strong. Where is Jesus who will correct all this evil? The parable of the 10 virgins. There are those who prepared and kept their light burning. There are those who slept until the bridegroom came and they were unprepared. This is COVID-19 wake up call. Time is ticking. Time is moving towards the final judgment. Let us use the time, the grace period, to prepare for God. Rainbow is about colors. What's the significance? The colors of the rainbow, the 7 colors, is actually the color of the sun refracted by water and releases the 7 colors in the white color, which we don't see until it is bent by the light through the water and the rainbow colors are revealed. There are those who say that heaven is about colors. Heaven is like the white light we see, and when heaven comes, the 7 colors in that white light, which we see on earth, the white, is going to reveal what the colors are really like. The white color we will be who we really are. Our true colors will shine, will be seen. Meanwhile, time is ticking.